talked a lot about, you called John Simon the heart and soul. When did you realize?
Pretty quick.
What set him apart?
Pretty quick. Well, Mickey and I both, you heard from other people, and then, I mean, we hit it off right away. And I mean, he's here now. He wakes up in the morning, comes over here, and he's just here every second of the day. And you really get to know a guy. He's from Youngstown. We're from near the same area. I know his high school. I know his high school coaches. I know everybody in that area real well. And so it didn't take long for me to find out who he is. But I like to develop my own opinion. And you meet his family, you meet him, you meet his girlfriend. My son had a baseball game up there over the summer, and he came and sat and watched. Him and his girlfriend sat with me for a bunch of hours watching baseball. So it just tells you what he's all about.
Dave Biddle, Bucknuts, from your own experiences using two quarterbacks, Urban, you get a feel for what Michigan's going through right now, how they can, especially two guys that are such polar opposites.
Well, I don't know if they're that opposite. I think they're both very good athletes. I thought Denard could throw, maybe not as good as Gardner can. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. I don't. Once again, I guess I'm not equipped to answer that yet. I haven't studied them enough. Luke Fickell and those guys, when you talk to them, will. But I think that I don't think they're that dissimilar. That like a Tebow and Chris Leak were just completely different players. She had two different packages. I don't think they're going to have very different packages for him.
Talk about that. Perhaps I know this is probably for Coach Fickell as well, but can you talk about them perhaps using both of them on the field together, especially with Robinson, a running back?
Yeah, I saw last week with that handoff to him, and then he pitched the ball. I just know something's coming. You just know something's coming. So it's a question of what, and that's where I'm going to try to help them, because I've been in those kind of situations where you can utilize two skill sets.
Middle, Dave Briggs.
Dave Briggs, Toledo Blade. Urban, 25th anniversary of the '87 game and your last direct involvement with this. Did the win under those circumstances kind of heighten your appreciation even further for this game?
Great memories. I could tell you everything. I can tell you walking into Coach Bruce's office right here. This facility just opened, and Rick Bay was leaned up against the wall and looked at me and said, "Close the door. You the last one?" I said, "Yes, sir." And I sat down, and I saw a bunch of coaches with their arms on the table, with their face in their arms, and tears and a whole deal. And I was like the last guy to walk in, and he said that Coach Bruce will no longer be the coach after this game, and I have resigned as athletic director. And I remember, it was right there, right out that door. And I had great respect. I knew Mr. Bay very well, and I had great respect for him. Just an incredible moment in Ohio State history.
Back left, Jared.
Urban, one of the things that traditionally has been done here with head coaches is they maybe take a moment, I don't know, maybe when you were GA here, took a moment out of practices and called it a Michigan period to prepare all year long. Have you borrowed moments like that throughout the year to stock information away, maybe looking with your players?
Well, no one's had greater success than Jim Tressel, so I have members of my staff who are on his staff, so I did some research, and obviously it's our program, but once again, I'm going to utilize anything I can. And so we had a couple of those that you're talking about that I learned from the previous coaches that coached here. And so we did that during training camp.
Middle back, Dave.
Coach Dave Metzel, 610 WTVN. From the outside, your program looks pretty intense, pretty competitive every day from day one. Do you ramp that up at all this week? Can you ramp it up at all this week?
Sure. I think I just think the constant, there's stuff, reminders all over this facility about what's going on. So that ought to enhance the competitive spirit, as opposed to if you're playing a team that, just another team on the schedule, which it's as a coach, that's where you need all the motivational techniques. I always say throwing Gatorade bottles against the windows, or getting things going. It's not against this one. The pregame speech isn't going to get these kids fired up to play this game. So that's where a lot of people get confused, saying, "Hey, what are you going to do special for this week? We got to get really good on offense, defense, and kicking. That's what we're going to do special." It's not going to be a whole bunch of conversation, because it is what it is. We have more conversations about games that aren't quite as appealing, because you're dealing with the competitive spirit of kids. If we have to motivate them for this one, we wouldn't be 11-0.
Senior tackle this week?
Yes, we're going to have that Thursday night, and that's one of the greatest traditions. I learned it here. I've done it every place I've ever been because I learned it here. It's one of the great traditions to send off a a young man represent his last practice as a Buckeye.
Back row right, Clay.
Yeah, Coach Clay, all ABC6. Has there been a moment since you got the job when somebody drove this rivalry home to you, whether a text, an email, a phone call, an old lady on the street? When you're eating ribs with Brady,
Been an 80.
was he trying to whoop you?
No, there's an 82-year-old. I think he's 82 now. Coach Bruce, that reminds me, I get one of these almost every day when I see him. And I got one just yesterday, and I mean, almost hit me, but it was good. It's a reminder.
Back row left, Bill.
Bill Lewis, the Cleveland Plain dealer. What's your main memory of 20? Is it Earl going off on the shoulders of his players? And will he speak at the senior tackle? He's kind of been.
He's going to speak. We're still working out. He will. I'm not going to have many speakers because I'm very cautious, but he will certainly be one of the guys that will talk. And the great memories, I was here when Harbaugh guaranteed the win. And then we missed, Matt France missed the field goal, and I love Matt. It was a great game. Vince Workman I can go through the whole game if you want. Chris Carter's a great catch on the right side of the end zone. 29 tackles, Jamie Morris.
When they carried Earl off on the shoulders with the headband.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't know that was happening, and I remember I was up in a press box for that game, and I remember looking down and thinking, what are they wearing? And they wore the red shoes because of the same shoes they wore in the Texas A&M win.